Right. What's going on, fantastic people? This is a presentation from Fantastic Services Company, a major franchisor in the UK and Australia. My name is Valerie Kozarev. I'm going to be your host today. And today I'm going to be talking about a topic that is very close to my heart because I've had this conversation many times up until today. So the main question and the main topic for today's session is going to be starting a business by yourself versus entering a franchise partnership. For all the people that are on the fence and for all the people that are shopping around, looking and talking to other franchise companies, and they're thinking about and measuring which way to go, you're in the right place. So the elephant in the room, right? This is something that I'll try to address today. And the main question is, do I need to join a franchise to have a successful business? Right? I'm super happy, like I said, because this is a question that I often hear from potential candidates when they come to meetings face-to-face or over the phone or Zoom over the past 1 year. I've had many conversations with partners, existing partners in our network, who have shared that they tried their own brands before joining our franchise network and see a significant improvement. And I know that a lot of people who never had their own brand think that they don't need a franchise to make it and to be successful. So today I will try to build on 9 different categories that you will need to consider carefully before deciding, do you need to go alone or join a franchise network? What are the differences between both choices? And lastly, but not least, what a better way to display a major difference and to showcase all the stages that a company is going through, regardless if it's a franchise or a startup, okay? So, funny slide. So what do we have here? We have world-renowned celebrities, and almost everybody can recognize them. And what are the several things that they have in common? I'm going to mention just 2. Okay, yes, they're all franchise owners, and number 2 is practically they have access to unlimited resources, right? If you want to look at that, all of them could build their own brand and try to push it out there on the public, right? All of them have enough cash, enough access to resources to be able to build something on their own. But they made the decision to invest in an established business model and are working with proven system. If you're wondering what kind of companies each one of them is owning, I'm happy to discuss this later on at our booth. So comparing the 2 scenarios, what's the first point that you need to consider before joining a franchise network or starting on your own? And the first benefit is that should you decide to join a franchise network, I'm talking about the good franchises, right? Not their crappy ones, but typically the good ones, the benefit of economies of scale and buying power, right? If you're investing in a franchise with some type of consumables, supplies, inventory, this could be hamburgers, cleaning materials, vehicles, advertisement, because you are part of a larger buying conglomerate, you will get very low pricing buying in huge volumes for dozens or hundreds of franchisees, okay? Beyond your daily consumables, there are also often arrangements with insurance providers, leasing agents, and other industry connections that the franchise company has negotiated using this buying power that could ultimately save you a substantial amount of money over being an independent, right? Some people make the blank statement that paying royalties, right, is just not worth it. And we see that often in comments. I've heard this many times over the phone. And in some cases, they're correct. But in a solid franchise, when you analyze and compare the royalties you pay versus the savings in consumables, you should see an equilibrium in the relationship, right? Another part of this benefit is the financing. Getting the necessary funds to start a business on your own is tough nowadays. Through a franchise network, typically they are pre-approved sender in some of the banks, and it's much easier to be approved. And this allows you and enables you to start a business with a little capital of your own. Second thing, that is pretty much with every franchise, you receive an operations manual, which I like to call it is pretty much your golden goose when you start applying it, right? In that manual, there are exact systems, processes, and procedures involved in building that business. Many of these manuals are 100 pages long and will cover topics ranging from how to acquire customers, how to answer with the phone. Now, if you have ever started a business on your own, or probably are in the midst of opening right now, you will appreciate how much is involved in getting set up, from creating your brand, the business workflow, the logo, the marketing, the social media, the human resources, the employee recruitment training, client acquisition and retention, CRM system, billing, accounting and receivables, real estate. I mean, the list never ever ends for a small independent business owner. And keep in mind that these are all the things outside of your core competency of knowing how to cook the burger or sweep the mop or paintbrush if you're a tradesman, right? So having this manual that has been refined over many years, and franchisees will save hours, if not days, weeks, and months of headaches trying to get your own independent business running, right? And not that it's impossible, people do it. I still know independent companies that are successful, but it's far from easy, right? Now, a large part of that success roadmap are the system and the processes. So let's take a look at that. So what does it mean? With great franchise companies, we will occasionally see independent companies signing up to become a franchisee, right? Established coffee shops, or there are people already in the industry who own independent coffee shops, cleaning companies, gyms, if not independently. And they still choose to adopt a franchise network and start paying royalties. And this is a huge indicator for us, because this is a person who already knows the industry well, and yet they, as professionals, see enough value to start paying royalties. And we often see this with, like I said, gyms converting from private into a franchise, garages, painting companies, and others. There are franchises like property management that, because of their software and capabilities, owners can more than quadruple the number of clients they had been managing on their own. With restaurants and garages don't underestimate how difficult it is to have everything in place, from the right branding, the right equipment or food, or appropriate pricing, advertising and promotions. As we mentioned previously, there is so much to do, and any of those things you don't get right take weeks to figure out for a cleaning company how to put pricing, for example. And the number one reason businesses fail if they run out of money because they didn't figure everything out in time. The cash flow didn't come up in time, and they couldn't figure all the processes on their own. Franchising gives you the manual and the ongoing support, which reminds me for the next point. This is marketing and advertisement programs. Another major, huge advantage is the marketing and advertising. Most franchises will have you pay typically co-op or fee, and usually one for regional, one for national. There's also, depending on the franchise, there's also local fees. The money is pulled from all franchisees, and obviously great prices are negotiated for these national ads, right? Your franchise, again, if it's a good one, right, has retained a top marketing company, or something that is even better, which is, our case. We are having an in-house a marketing army of 50 plus people that are doing everything for our own needs, tailored for the business, right? Which serves with service brands, you will likely have a company that generates local leads for you through trade sites, Google Ads, SEO, review sites, and so on and so forth. Next point, which is pretty much connected to the previous one, and this is the brand recognition and reputation. Okay. The next advantage, and it's typically the first one that people think of, is take advantage of the brand recognition and reputation of the company, aligning yourself with a known brand. It is proven that customers will pay premium for an established brand. So when you open a brand new restaurant, for example, you are that restaurant. When you open a franchise, for example, or cleaning company or handyman company or a carpet cleaning company, it doesn't really matter. You are that face of that company. But when you open a franchise, you are leveraging decades of that brand's mind share, and customers will know exactly what to expect, right? When they're dealing with you, they're often going to stop by just based on the name and experience alone that they've had before your opening. This could also work against you, by the way, especially with online review websites like Trustpilot. So be sure to align yourself with a franchise that is top of reputation management and social media. Okay, moving forward, business presentation, and I still have in my mind the owners communicating this to all our franchisees and how important this is. The big part of branding is the presentation and appearance of you and your employees. And a great example of that is a tradesman franchise. When you hire a franchisee, if you're a management tradesman franchise and you hire a working franchisee, you always get professionally attired people to show up at the doorstep of the end user. They pull up in a clean truck with a company logo on the truck with branded uniforms, and pretty much the entire experience for the most part is ideal, right? Now, I don't know how many people I've met who question the suckers or the stupid people who are paying franchise royalties and management fees and then go out in a super old rusty van with ripped off jeans because people just don't care about that kind of stuff, right? And you know, some customers may not care about this as long as the job is being done properly or up to a certain satisfactory degree. But I guarantee that customers who are willing to pay a little more for quality and appearance are going to be easier to work with and far more loyal than the penny pincher customers, right? They often want the cheapest and eventually going to drive yourself to the ground. And that's another benefit of the franchising. You already know your ideal customer, okay? Yes, you will be receiving ideal customer profile and demographics. They will have specific data relating to the ideal customer, the household income, the buying habits, and will often actually size your territory around a certain number of your ideal customers. That's another reason as to why there's no such thing as a best franchise. Only the ones that are suited to your demographics, market demand, and capabilities. Hope that makes sense. So big point, very big point. Now, in addition to the initial training, you will be having an ongoing support from the head office and often peer-to-peer support or franchise network support. So training we covered earlier, most brands will be having a week or two in the head office or online. Today we're in learning where you're going to be learning whatever you need to know. But let's say you have a problem, any problem when your business is running, could be related to food, could be related to cleaning, could be related to customer acquisition, employees, whatever you're experiencing. You have your operations manual to rely on, yes, but if you can't find anything at all over there, in many cases, you're going to have a phone number to call for support. Now, imagine how comforting that can be, not sitting there for hours trying to figure out or Google what the heck you're going to do when nothing is working in your business. So having this ongoing line is great. Many franchises have online groups with other franchise owners where you can post questions and receive answers directly from other owners in the network. Other franchises have an annual event. Probably the good ones have, all of them have an annual event where the franchisees meet And this is a huge venue to pick up ideas and get hyped up about the brand again. So final, there are many, many benefits, but final one in my presentation, and something that I really think you should be considering is the experience required to open a franchise business. So now a level of franchise by definition has a level of training and support. So you don't necessarily need to know anything about the business. So for example, management trades franchises, okay, tradesmen's franchises or cleaning franchises. Many of them don't want painters or handymen as owners or cleaners as owners. In the management cleaning franchises, they don't want you to know how to swing a mop, right? In the restaurant franchises, they don't want you to know how to cook or how to flip burgers, right? You could hire those functions. The best background for those franchises, I mean the management ones, is usually an executive background, right? Someone who's capable in growing that business and delegating the actual functions of the business. So while I would never start an independent tradesman business knowing nothing about plumbing or painting or drywalling, most managing franchisees are starting off with zero experience. And ironically, the ones usually the most successful, these are the most successful because they have a what we call it a receptive and open mind. Okay. Now, a bonus benefit from me for today, for everyone that is watching the live show or later on demand, very significant leverage point in scaling your business is the technological infrastructure that the franchise company is using. Okay, automated email confirmations for appointments, real-time pricing and availability, automatic invoicing, automatic scheduling, customer profiles and history, and many, many more are offered by the top-notch franchise companies. Believe me, technology is saving money, time, and hassle, right? So moving forward, so the 4 stages of developing a business, from left to right, you will see them described. This is taken from the Growth Institute, as I don't own any rights of that knowledge. We use Growth Institute for as a consulting company, so they're great. Check them out as well. Startup, grow up, scale up, domination. Those are the 4 stages of developing a business. Typically, when you enter a business by yourself, you would be a startup in the stage 1. You would potentially be having 1 to 5 people, and you're primarily going to be focused on service development. Okay, what kind of startup, what kind of company do I want to open, right? Am I going to be a painter? Am I going to be a cleaning company? Am I going to be a builder's company? Am I going to be a restaurant? What am I going to be offering out there? My priority is going to be the validation of a business model, right? Is this my part is going to be, I need to make this to work, right? However, my barrier is going to be the market dynamics. Is there competition? What's the competition in my area? What are the other prices? Am I in a good price point? And my ability, vital ability, if I want to continue building that business, is going to be the ability to grab attention, right? My ability to advertise. The decisions that I need to make on a company level are a strategy. Which channel should I be advertising? What? How can I make customers to purchase again? How can I increase the retention level? How can I get corporate customers? Anything. All of these points that I mentioned earlier in my previous slide, they need to be aligned based on a strategy. So beyond that point, you're going to be entering into the grow up stage, and you will start seeing some traction with the business, which now you have an established service development is in place, the strategies are in place, and your number 1 focus is going to be sales, 100% sales. You need the cash flow in. So the priority for the business is finding the right people, right? Business is growing, you need the right people and more people to help you in, answer the phone call or deliver a service or anything, anything that you might need around the business. The barrier, however, is the leadership. Somebody needs to manage these people. Somebody needs to motivate them. Somebody needs to recruit them, right? Your number one ability in this stage is going to be the ability to delegate, predict, and repeat. You need to have a system of delegation. Otherwise, if you're a one-man army, this is going to be your limit. You're not going to be able to grow anymore. The decisions that you're going to need to make is, what are you going to do with that cash that is coming in, and making a decision on the right people in your team, right? Next stage is between 16 to 250 people, and this is the scale up. Your focus is going to be on industry definition. Okay, can I diversify my portfolio? I know I opened up a cleaning company, but maybe I can offer gardening as well. Or maybe I could start a completely different service within the portfolio that I can bring in, professionals outside of my company that can develop that service in my portfolio. But the most important thing in terms of priority is going to be your ability to scale. Okay, this is going to be the stage where your ability to scale is going to be tested. The barrier obviously is going to be the infrastructure. Unless you have the right infrastructure, you're not going to be able to get to domination. So your ability is going to be aligned with all the people that are in the business and simplify all the processes. If a process takes too much time, it's not going to be, the infrastructure is being heavy. It takes more than anticipated time. Customers are not happy. Employees are not happy. You're also not going to be very happy. The decisions that you need to be making is on execution on making the right process, tweaking the right processes in place. Now, if everything goes well and you figure out a way to scale, and typically this is the moment that I spoke about existing coffee shops and existing gyms and existing cleaning companies that are ready to dominate because they've been reaching their peak. They're not able to do it on their own. Their infrastructure is not sophisticated as a franchise company. And this is why they enter the franchising world, because the franchising company is giving them all the tools necessary for them to be able to scale and essentially dominate. The good franchising companies are in stage 4. They're in domination. They're dominating the industry. Their focus is domination, okay? Their priority, though, is one of constantly reinventing new ways to market. Coronavirus was one that put on, to the test all of the companies all over the world, not just in the UK. And unless you manage to reinvent, unless you manage to find another way to reach to the customer, to bring, to offer a new service in your portfolio and reinvent even the services that you currently are offering, you probably have experienced a very, very, very difficult times. So what's the barrier of companies that are dominating the market? That's the comfort zone, and thinking that you're too big to fail, thinking that that's fine, the rest, I have my share, nobody's gonna be able to take over my customers, so on and so forth. The ability, some very important ability, something that I also mentioned before, but this is how adaptable is the business towards the outside catalysts, change catalysts. People used to be, walking freely and there were no restrictions. All of a sudden, there are several lockdowns, and unless you're able to adapt to that situation, you wouldn't have been, facing very positive, positive months. The decision that needs to be making a company that is dominating the market is based on people, based on strategy, based on execution, based on cash, and they rotate every quarter. Good. Now, the next slide that I have prepared for you is to, regardless of which way you potentially want to go. I'm not gonna play the video right now because I want to leave some time for our Q&A session. Is make a decision. Don't procrastinate. I've had candidates that are looking for the right franchise opportunities for the last 5 years. You know, you you're not gonna be, you know, you would be surprised what kind of people are, you know, trying to push that idea that today is not the day, and you know, let's see how tomorrow is going to look like. Tomorrow is not going to be any different. Okay, if your dream is to go independent, then by all means do it, hustle it. It's going to be difficult for you, but if you want to take advantage of all the points that I mentioned today, please reach out at my booth if you're interested in finding out about our opportunities. I'll be more than happy to help you out and tell you what opportunities and how we can support you further. As of today's presentation, I think I am done. If any of you have any questions towards any of the points or anything that I mentioned today, I'd love to answer them now or at our virtual booth. How do you see the future of franchising? Well, the future of franchising is the same as the past 30 years. The franchising is going to be something very big. People are going to start, you know, their mindset is going to be more and more receptive and acceptable. More and more franchising companies are, you know, developing in their brands and their strategies by the year. So I'm not worried about the future of franchising at all. So the safe bet for people that have zero experience, that will be a franchise company. For people that are, you know, reluctant on paying royalties, and this is a deal breaker for them, that's fine. You can still purchase, you can still go and look after your own independent business. Now, that's a very good question. We have many successful examples that the franchise out with our franchise network where this is a family business. I also have examples where business partners join venture and they go together and they split the responsibility. A great partnership would be if one of the people, one person is focused more on the vision and more on the corporate customers and more on the marketing side, and the other person is more on the bench and operational guy and is doing all the recruitment, all the operational things outside of the business. So this is a very fruitful partnership based on my experience. All right. If there aren't any other questions, I wish you a lovely day. Stay safe, hug your loved ones, and thank you very much for your time.